Detective Harris and Officer Miller never expected that a simple late-night patrol would uncover Emma Caldwell's hidden life of deception. From discarded letters in a dumpster to chilling surveillance footage, each discovery revealed a shocking past that Willow Creek could never forget. What seemed like ordinary trash soon became evidence of crimes meticulously hidden for years, and the truth that emerged would leave the town questioning everything they thought they knew. The small town of Willow Creek had always been known for its calm streets, friendly neighbors, and quiet routine. Life there moved slowly, with little to disturb the peace, and residents prided themselves on the sense of safety the town offered. That illusion was shattered one gloomy morning when a passerby, taking a shortcut through an abandoned alley behind a row of shuttered shops, noticed something unusual. A large dumpster, normally filled with ordinary trash, was overflowing, and some of the discarded items seemed out of place. Curious, the person approached and noticed boxes stacked haphazardly, with labels containing dates and names. At first glance, it seemed like an ordinary act of dumping, but the closer look revealed a disturbing pattern. Among broken furniture and discarded packaging, there were personal belongings, torn photographs, letters, and small items that clearly belonged to individuals still living in the town. The discovery immediately raised alarm. Authorities were called, and officers arrived quickly, carefully documenting every item in the dumpster. As they sorted through the mess, a chilling realization began to take shape. This was not the result of a random act of littering or an illegal dumping site. Every object, no matter how small, seemed chosen for a purpose. Torn photographs showed people whose eyes carried a story of fear or secrecy, while letters hinted at relationships and disputes that had never been reported. Perhaps the most unsettling discovery was a small journal, its pages filled with meticulous notes about daily routines, names, and locations. Whoever had discarded these items had left behind a trail, but it was unclear whether it was intentional or a careless mistake. The town buzzed with curiosity and unease. Questions circulated rapidly. Who were the people in the photographs? Why had their personal belongings ended up in this alley? And most importantly, who would go to such lengths to dispose of them in such a public yet anonymous way? Local residents began to examine their own lives, wondering if someone they knew could be connected to this strange and ominous discovery. What started as a simple morning walk through an alley had turned into the first glimpse of a mystery that would grow deeper and darker with each passing day. The items in the dumpster, once considered trash, were now evidence pointing towards secrets long buried, hinting at a story that the town was nowhere near ready to hear. Every object, every label, every page of the journal seemed to whisper a warning. Something in Willow Creek was far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. Investigators quickly realized that the key to unraveling the mystery lay in the town's network of surveillance cameras. Willow Creek, like many small towns, had installed cameras near business entrances, parking lots, and intersections, primarily for security and traffic monitoring. At first, the footage seemed routine: cars passing, pedestrians walking, and daily life continuing undisturbed. But when detectives focused on the alley where the dumpster had been discovered, they found something far more disturbing. Over the course of several nights, a lone figure appeared in the frame, moving with careful precision. The person, hooded and mostly obscured, carried multiple packages to the dumpster, handling each one in silence and placing them with deliberate care. There was a rhythm to the movements, a methodical nature that suggested planning rather than chance. Enhancing the footage revealed small details that would prove critical to the investigation. The figure's shoes had a distinctive tread, worn in a specific pattern. A glint of metal around the wrist hinted at a unique watch. Even the way the packages were carried, some balanced carefully, others cradled like fragile objects, spoke of someone who understood the value of what they were disposing of. Detectives compared the movements across several nights, noting the consistency and precision. Each appearance was brief, lasting only a few minutes, but the figure's careful approach suggested that this was not the work of an amateur. Whoever it was, they had mastered the art of leaving no trace. The town watched with growing unease as the investigation continued. Residents began to realize that someone had been moving through Willow Creek at night, unnoticed, carrying out acts that were small in appearance but immense in implication. The footage became a source of both hope and dread. It provided a lead, a concrete image of the person responsible. Yet it also suggested that the individual had been operating undetected for weeks, if not months. Forensic experts examined the alley itself, looking for overlooked clues, discarded gloves, tire tracks, and footprints. Each detail added to the growing sense that this was no ordinary crime. By the end of the week, investigators had pieced together a timeline. The figure's nightly visits coincided with missing items reported across the town. Every object placed in the dumpster seemed to carry a piece of a larger puzzle, a hint at a hidden life that no one had suspected. The surveillance footage, initially seen as just a small tool, had become the backbone of the case. It offered the first glimpse of a shadowy presence in Willow Creek. Someone who was meticulous, patient, and utterly determined to remain unseen while leaving clues that would eventually unravel their carefully constructed facade. As the investigation progressed, the personal items recovered from the dumpster began to reveal a story far more disturbing than anyone had anticipated. Each photograph, letter, and journal page painted fragments of a hidden life, pieces of a puzzle that slowly coalesced into a picture of deception and secrecy. The photographs, some torn and others carefully preserved, showed faces that were familiar to Willow Creek residents, but in contexts no one could have guessed. People who had seemed ordinary, even mundane, now appeared connected to situations that raised chilling questions. Letters hinted at conflicts, unreported grievances, and relationships that were kept deliberately hidden. They suggested a life of manipulation, where appearances were carefully maintained while sinister activities unfolded beneath the surface. The journal was perhaps the most unsettling discovery. Its pages were filled with precise entries detailing daily movements, the names of neighbors, co-workers, and even strangers, and meticulous accounts of interactions that seemed innocuous on the surface. Forensic handwriting analysis confirmed that the entries matched fingerprints found on the discarded items. Investigators realized they were dealing with someone who had not only been living under multiple identities, but had also been documenting their life in a way that almost seemed obsessive. The journal hinted at long-term planning, strategic manipulation, and an awareness that one misstep could expose everything. Further forensic analysis linked DNA from the items to a series of unsolved cases spanning several years. These cases had once seemed unrelated: a missing wallet here, a minor theft there, but now fit together like threads in a dark tapestry. Suddenly, the seemingly random act of discarding trash revealed connections to larger crimes, small thefts, instances of intimidation, and even disappearances that had gone unexplained. Willow Creek, once a town defined by routine, now seemed like a stage upon which a hidden predator had operated undetected. The investigation team began piecing together timelines, cross-referencing the dates on letters and journal entries with missing persons reports and local police records. The results were staggering. The individual responsible had moved seamlessly from town to town, maintaining a facade of normalcy while engaging in criminal activity. The careful disposal of evidence, the deliberate obscuring of identity, and the calculated avoidance of detection showed a level of planning that was almost unimaginable. What had started as a small discovery in a dumpster had now opened a window into a life of careful deception, manipulation, and a criminal history that reached far beyond Willow Creek, revealing a truth that no one in the town had been prepared to confront. The investigation reached a turning point when detectives traced one of the small details from the surveillance footage: a distinctive wristwatch, to a pawn shop several towns away. The watch, an unusual model with a unique engraving, immediately stood out to the shop owner, who recalled selling it to a man who fit the figure captured on camera. This lead opened a door that had previously seemed closed. Detectives dug into the man's past and quickly discovered a series of inconsistencies in his identity: multiple addresses, different names used in official documents, and employment records that didn't line up. The careful facade he had maintained began to crumble, revealing a life built on deception. Further investigation revealed that this individual had been moving methodically across state lines, leaving behind a trail of seemingly minor crimes that had gone unnoticed at the time. Each discarded item in the dumpster now connected to a larger network of offenses, thefts, disappearances, and acts of intimidation that had been dismissed as isolated incidents. What had initially seemed like a small-town mystery had escalated into a case with national implications. The town of Willow Creek, once considered safe and predictable, had unknowingly sheltered someone whose criminal reach extended far beyond its borders. Detectives began interviewing associates, former neighbors, and anyone who had crossed paths with the suspect. Patterns emerged: people recalled odd behaviors, unexplained absences, and subtle manipulations that had never raised alarms at the time. Each testimony added layers to a complex portrait of someone who had mastered the art of blending in while orchestrating crimes behind the scenes. The more investigators uncovered, the more chilling it became. The suspect's life was meticulously organized, with every movement calculated to avoid detection and every interaction designed to maintain a veneer of normalcy. As the puzzle came together, authorities realized the suspect had not only been hiding past crimes, but had also been exploiting the town's trust and close-knit community to cover decades of wrongdoing. Every object found in the dumpster, every letter, and every journal entry was part of a larger narrative, one that revealed careful planning, manipulation, and a profound understanding of human behavior. What had begun as an investigation into a mysterious dumpster had grown into a full-scale examination of a criminal mind that had long gone unnoticed. Willow Creek was forced to confront the reality that the person responsible had been living among them, observing, recording, and disposing of evidence, all while presenting a perfectly ordinary life to the outside world. The case reached its dramatic climax when authorities obtained a search warrant for the suspect's residence. What they found inside was unlike anything they had anticipated. Every corner of the home reflected an obsessive attention to detail. Hidden compartments lined the walls, floors, and furniture, each containing carefully organized files, personal belongings, and items matching those found in the dumpster. The level of meticulous planning was staggering. Documents cross-referenced names, dates, and locations, while photographs were labeled and cataloged with precision. It became immediately clear that the suspect had been maintaining a detailed record of every aspect of their life and every crime for years. Among the files were notes detailing relationships, interactions with neighbors, and strategies for evading law enforcement. There were maps, schedules, and diagrams outlining movements across towns, showing a level of foresight that few could imagine. Investigators realized that the items in the dumpster were only a fraction of what had been deliberately concealed. Each discovery deepened the understanding of how calculated and careful the suspect had been, manipulating appearances while committing crimes under the radar. The sheer scale of the hidden evidence stunned even the most experienced detectives. As forensic teams combed through the residence, they uncovered direct links to unsolved cases, from thefts to disappearances that had puzzled authorities for years. Items found inside matched descriptions, fingerprints, and DNA traces from cold cases, definitively connecting the suspect to a pattern of criminal activity that spanned decades. The town's perception of safety, once taken for granted, had been a fragile illusion. People realized that someone they had seen every day, someone who had blended seamlessly into the community, had been living a secret life that no one had suspected. The trial that followed exposed the shocking extent of the suspect's hidden past. Prosecutors presented the meticulous records, the surveillance evidence, and the items recovered from both the dumpster and the home, building an unassailable case. The courtroom was gripped by the scope of the deception, the careful planning, and the audacity of the crimes. Willow Creek, once a quiet town, had been irrevocably changed by the revelation that darkness can hide behind even the most ordinary faces. In the end, the investigation into the dumpster had uncovered far more than discarded belongings. It revealed a criminal mind that had operated undetected for years, manipulating, hiding, and meticulously documenting a life of secrets. The case became a cautionary tale, a reminder that beneath the surface of familiarity, danger can sometimes lie in plain sight, waiting for the smallest clue, a discarded photo, a letter, a journal to bring it into the light.